Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how we do things here, diving deep into a new career path today. This time, we're looking at child daycare center managers. Got a whole bunch of materials to dig through, and honestly, I'm already seeing it's way more than just like juice boxes and nap time.
Yeah, you're right. It's really not that simple.
Yeah.
This role, at its heart, it's all about balance. You're juggling the daily ins and outs of running a place, a business, but also you're trying to create an environment that's actually nurturing for these little ones. It's a really interesting mix of straight up management and, well, almost like social work in a way.
So we're talking more than just keeping an eye on kids and staff then. What does that actually look like day to day?
Imagine this. A child daycare center manager, they've got all these different hats they have to wear. One minute you're a strategist, thinking long term, like where's this whole center going? Next minute you're the budget person, making sure every penny counts. And then, of course, there's the hands-on part, building those awesome, engaging programs for the kids. That's the core of it, really.
And I bet staying current with all the latest stuff in early childhood education is super important, right?
So really key. But it's more than just knowing the newest theories and all that. Get this. Technology, it's changing the game for early childhood education. Big time. Managers, they have to be ahead of that curve. I mean, we're not talking about like robot story time or something. It's about using tech in a way that makes sense.
Okay, now you've got me curious. What does that actually look like in a practical sense?
Think about it. Parents these days, they're all about the apps, right? They want updates on their kid all day long, maybe even some cool interactive learning stuff happening in the classroom. So a good center manager, they need to know what's out there, how to pick the right tools, and then blend those into their program without, it feeling forced or anything.
It's like finding that sweet spot, yeah, between how things have always been done in early childhood and these new tech things popping up.
Exactly. Use the tech to make things better,
Yeah.
to add to what's already there. Don't just use it because it's new and shiny.
This is already giving me a much deeper understanding of this career, that's for sure. Way more complex than I thought.
Oh, yeah. And we're just getting started. Now let's dive into the real nitty-gritty, the challenges and the rewards that come with this kind of job. It's not all sunshine and roses.
Well, speaking of challenges, the career guide we got, it doesn't sugarcoat things, does it? It talks about those less glamorous parts of being a child daycare center manager.
Right. And that's important. Got to be real about what's involved. Long hours, that's almost guaranteed. Early mornings, late nights sometimes, maybe even some weekend stuff thrown in there.
And it's not even just the hours, if I'm reading this right. It's got to be emotionally draining, too, I'd imagine.
Oh, absolutely. You're surrounded by these
Yeah.
little kids, right? And they've got the whole spectrum of emotions, sometimes all in 1 hour. Learning to help them through that, being patient, really feeling what they're feeling, it takes
Yeah.
a lot out of you.
And then on top of that, you've got the parents. That's got to have its own challenges, am I right?
Yep, comes with the territory. You're like that link, between the child, their family, and then your staff. Got to be good at talking to people, figuring out how to make things right when things get tense. Those skills, super valuable.
It's funny, this career stages part of the guide, it really shows you how that ramps up. Like you start as an assistant, it's all about the kids, right? But then you move up, supervisor, manager. Suddenly you're dealing with personalities, budgets, the whole business side of things.
And that's what makes this whole thing so interesting. Yeah, the guide lays out the tough stuff, but it also talks about the really great parts, the rewards you get from this kind of work.
Because it can't be all stress and arguments, right? What are some of the things that make this job, really fulfilling?
At the end of the day, it boils down to this. You're making a difference, like a real difference in these kids' lives, helping them learn and grow, giving them a safe and fun place to be. That's powerful stuff.
That's what gets me, honestly. The guide used this phrase, architect of childhood. I love that. You're creating programs, coming up with activities, letting your creative side out, all to make learning exciting for them.
And it goes beyond just the kids, too. You're putting together a team, helping your staff learn and grow, building a good, supportive vibe at work. That kind of leadership, that's something to be proud of.
And get this, there's room to move up. The guide even mentioned like some center managers, they end up being directors, consultants, some even start their own places.
Yeah, that go-getter attitude, it definitely helps in this field.
Okay, so someone's listening to us right now, right? And they're like, this is it. This is the job for me. What do they absolutely need to succeed? Skills, qualifications, the whole 9 yards.
Well, this guide, it's got a pretty good list. Let's start with the must-haves. Leadership, knowing how to manage. Because you're not just in charge of one classroom. It's the whole center, right?
Yeah.
Organization, making tough calls, solving problems left and right. That's all part of it.
And like we were saying before, you got to be good with people, talking to the kids, the staff,
Yeah.
parents, especially when things are maybe a little heated. Super important.
Can't forget the actual knowledge, though. You got to know early childhood education, child development, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just about, you know, changing diapers and singing songs. It's about understanding how these little humans work, how they learn best, and then adapting to that.
Which reminds me, there were those certifications the guide talked about. The CDA, the CCP, those are big ones. Could you break those down for folks who might not know?
Dear thing. So the CDA, that's the Child Development Associate credential. It's like this badge that says, hey, I know what I'm doing when it comes to kids. All over the country, people know what that means. And a lot of times, you need it even to be a lead teacher, let alone a director. Great place to start.
And the CCP, you were about to tell us about that one. Sounds kind of official.
It is. CCP, that's Certified Child Care Professional. This one's more about, like, the business side of running one of these places. Money stuff, legal things, managing the staff, that sort of thing. It's a way to show, the people hiring that you're ready to handle the not-so-fun parts of having a successful center.
So having both the CDA and the CCP, that's like you're going the extra mile, showing you're serious.
Exactly. It's about professional growth.
Yeah.
Putting in the work to learn and improve. Employers, they eat that stuff up. Shows you're invested.
Speaking of landing the job, all this RoleCatcher stuff you gave us, super helpful, especially those interview questions, and they have tons specifically for child daycare center manager jobs. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah, having resources like that is huge. Interviews make everyone nervous, right? But if you practice beforehand, know what kinds of things they'll ask, it makes such a difference.
Totally. Even in the career guide, they had some sample questions. Some of them were really like, whoa, kind of tough. There was one about making sure the center followed all the rules, local, state, you name it.
That's a big deal, though. They want to know you get it, that you understand taking care of these little ones is a big responsibility. Legally, ethically, the whole 9 yards. It's not enough to just be good with the kids. Got to be on top of all that other stuff, too, to keep them safe and happy.
Seems like a lot to keep track of, but hey, these resources, being prepared and actually loving this kind of work, I think that's the winning combo for someone who wants to be a child daycare center manager.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
It's tough, no doubt, but man, is it rewarding. You can really make an impact,
So true. As we're wrapping up here, thinking about everything we've talked about, the early childhood field, it's changing. Technology's a bigger and bigger deal. Managers have to wear a million hats. Makes you wonder, what's next? What does the future hold for these folks?
$1 million question, right? If I knew that, I'd be writing a book or something. One thing's for sure, it's never going to be boring. Technology keeps moving. We keep learning more about kids and how they learn best. So, child daycare center managers, they'll have to adapt right along with it.
It's kind of exciting, though, all the possibilities, and yeah, the challenges too. But clearly, it's a field full of people who really care about giving these kids a good start.
That's what it's all about. This is a career where what you do, it matters. It ripples outward.
Couldn't agree more. Well, on that note, we'll let everyone go and, think about all this stuff. Keep exploring, keep asking those big questions. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.